So I've been experimenting with hibiscus petals, dried hibiscus petals for yarn, wool yarn dye, and I'm getting somewhere, getting some better results. When I was trying to use it the conventional way and using it in a hot water bath and making the dye that way, I was coming up with some really brown yarn. I wasn't happy with the results at all. I was getting frustrated thinking, well, how are people getting these beautiful pinks and purples out of hibiscus when I'm getting nothing like that? So I remembered that I had done a solar dyeing experiment a few years back using hibiscus, and I had a beautiful pink from that. So going from that point, I decided that I would try the different technique using a solar dye method instead. I started by using a large jar. This one is a ½ gallon, but a quart for a small skein of yarn will also work. You just want to have enough water for the yarn to float freely and for your hibiscus petals to be in there. Now I'm going to save this dye water. I was like worried I wouldn't be able to open it. I'm going to save this because there is still a lot of exhaust bath dye in here. I'm going to pull the yarn out. Now this yarn I used at Mother Earth News Fair on Sunday as a demo. It's a 60-gram skein that I had hanging around. It's 100% wool, and I wanted to show the people how the color develops quickly even without heat. So it is now, that was Sunday afternoon, it is now Thursday morning. So this has been sitting just out in daylight for those days. I did put it out in the sun one day, but I didn't actually remember to do it any other day. In here, in the jar, I use these little linen, or not linen, I don't know, maybe they're linen. I think they're just cotton muslin bags that you can buy. This one is a 4x6 bag, and I put 60 grams of hibiscus petal in here. It's probably a lot more than I needed for the 60 grams of wool, but I can use the residual dye. I have another jar of it, so I'm just going to combine them together. I'm going to leave this in here and put it in the refrigerator to keep it until I want to do another skein of yarn or wool roving in this color. Keeping the dye material in the little cotton bags gives you a lot less hassle picking all the little pieces out later on. See, my yarn is still nice and clean. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse this in some cool water, room temperature water, and we'll get all the residual color out. I don't think there's going to be a lot at this point. There will be some. I don't think it's going to be too hard to rinse. You can see, let me see if you can see. You can see some of the color running down in there, but the yarn is holding its color fairly well. Now you will always end up with a lighter color than what you have when you pull it right out of the dye bath. So don't be alarmed at that. And the other thing is you can always re-dye if your intensity isn't what you were hoping for. You can go ahead and stick this back in. If I wasn't happy with it, I could go ahead and stick it back in, put it back out in the sun. Remember not to wring. It's okay to squeeze, but don't twist. You don't want to felt your fibers together. We're already at the point where the water is running clear. Let's see if you can see that. So just a quick rinse. I'm going to grab just a tiny little bit of the unicorn fiber rinse, just because I think it smells pretty, and I like to add that at the end. Makes my yarn smell really nice and lovely and clean. And there you have it. Beautiful pink. I'm going to actually dry my hand, pick up the phone, because I realized the color is a little bit off when I'm holding it in the sink. It's a beautiful, let's see, how's that? It's a beautiful pink, kind of a dusty, mauve-y shade. one of those pinks that would go with so many other colors. So I'm going to go ahead and squeeze out a little bit more water and hang this up to dry, and it's all good to go. So that's how I'm going to be using hibiscus petals for dye in the future, because the color is just so much better than what I was getting when I tried to use the heat method.